The way we measure ability and the way we praise children in today's society is absolutely toxic. According to the book Mindset, written by Carol Dweck, who is an American psychologist with multiple decades of research in the fields of learning and development, there are two types of mindsets in learning. People who are praised for their skills or intelligence with phrases such as "you're a natural talent," "you're so smart," or "that was so easy for you," might develop a fixed mindset, while people who are praised by their effort, for example, "you practice a lot," "you never gave up," "you put in a lot of effort," tend to develop the growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that intelligence and abilities are mostly set in stone, that you're born with a certain amount and that's all you have, while people with a growth mindset believe that their intelligence and abilities can grow and improve with time and experience. These people tend to love challenges, enjoy learning, work on their weaknesses as opposed to showing off what they already know, learn from failures, stay persistent and never give up. The people who develop the fixed mindset tend to avoid challenges, think that effort is for people without talent, want to appear smart instead of improving, fear failures and critical feedback, and easily give up. Not only is the fixed mindset the recipe for missing out on our potential, it's also completely untrue. Our intelligence and our abilities are not set in stone. They're temporary and they're changeable. Our brains are plastic, meaning that they have the ability of changing throughout our whole lives, connecting new pathways in whichever direction we choose to train it. But yet, we keep believing that we're born with a certain amount of intelligence and talent, and that these determine what we can become in life. But okay, this word talent, it confuses me a lot. What does it really mean? So, according to dictionary.com, talent is often thought of as the kind of ability that comes without training, something that you're born with. It is often contrasted with skill, which is an ability acquired and developed through practice. Talent is an exceptional natural ability, especially in a particular activity such as music. Wait, what? Okay, I play the piano, and not to brag or anything, but I'd say I'm pretty good at it. Was I born with that skill? No, not at all. Okay, but was I born with musicality and had an easy time learning to play the piano? Absolutely not. When I started playing the piano, it sounded terrible and it was not easy at all for me. But then I worked at it because I really wanted to learn. And at around 100 to 200 hours into it, it already sounded a whole lot better. Then I kept going year after year, consistently with a big desire to improve, and now, a couple years later, I can actually say I'm good at playing the piano. And when I play and people are impressed, they might tell me, "You're talented," or "You're gifted." But when did that happen? When did I become gifted? Because I obviously wasn't before. Did someone suddenly come and give me musical talent? No. I learned chords, music theory, memorized songs, improved my sense of rhythm, and then suddenly I became talented. What? This word makes no sense. Okay, so what about school subjects like maths or maybe sports? So in maths, you have the formulas, the concepts. You're obviously not born with those in your head, right? Then you learn to count in your head, you learn problem solving, following patterns, you learn to use the right method for the right situation, etc. And these are all skills that are improved, not given. But what about those kids in school who just seem to get it naturally, without any effort? Well, from my experience, these kids always had a reason behind that. For example, that they had practiced problem solving in other ways, like solving puzzles or video games, and for that reason, it became easier for them to learn maths. Or in some cases, they actually practiced maths at home with their parents, which made them get ahead. And yes, there are those children who just have some kind of advantage, but then why would we praise them for that advantage? They can't control it. The question should be, how do they use that advantage? In my experience from school, these kids always got praised in the wrong way and developed a fixed mindset and became happy with their new identities as the gifted, the class genius, and being able to do it with no effort. They started seeing practice almost as an insult to them. Why would a genius need to practice? But then, when the setbacks came, when the test actually became difficult for them, ouch. That would hurt them a lot. Because not only would they fail the test, but they would also fail their self-image role as a genius and disappoint themselves and all the other people who praised them. This almost always led to the kid losing interest for maths because, well, this isn't fun anymore. They stop studying and start falling behind, and a year later, everybody else in the class becomes better than this kid at maths. I've seen this happen too many times, not just in maths, but with music, art, sports, everything. This is of course not what the parents wanted or anyone who praised the child wanted, but in today's society, this is how we think we should praise children. When we tell someone this was so easy for you, we tell them that it's a good thing to not challenge yourself. And this is so toxic because without challenging yourself, you're never going to improve. It shouldn't be easy. If it's easy, you're not practicing right. But okay, what about those things that some people can do and some just can't? Like singing. You either can or you can't sing, right? Well, have you guys heard about Ed Sheeran? I think we can agree that he's a pretty good singer.
When people go, you're so talented, you were born with natural talent. I'm like, no. People say artists are born with talent. You're not. You have to really learn and really practice. This is me playing guitar and singing. I'm going to put it into my mic like this.
So this is an example of someone who did not show extraordinary skills from the beginning, but worked really hard, persistently, never gave up, but then became one of the world's biggest artists and gifted songwriters. And there are so many more examples of great minds, great athletes who were rejected over and over again, considered talentless, but worked hard and became the greatest in their fields. This is Mozart, who pretty much is the synonym to the word gifted. Did you know that he studied and practiced relentlessly for 10 years before he was actually able to produce his first successful symphonic composition? But nobody mentions this, and nobody mentions the fact that when he was 28 years old, his hands were deformed because of all the hours he had spent practicing. Because our society is obsessed with the gifted geniuses and romanticize them as if they were not humans. Of course, there are cases where physical advantages are crucial, like being tall in basketball. But height is a feature and it's not an ability. It doesn't count as talent. We have to redefine the word talent, because the way we're using it now, it just isn't working. We call people who are good at things talented, but before they were good at those things, they were not talented. Okay, so should talent just be a synonym for the word ability? No, because talent also has to do with the advantages to becoming good at things fast. And what is that advantage? I would say that it's the obsessiveness, the falling in love with a craft and not wanting to do anything else, putting in countless of hours into small details. That's the advantage, and that's what makes people improve at things rapidly. And this proneness to falling in love with a craft and becoming obsessed with it, why are some people like that? Is it genetic? Is creativity something you inherit? I don't know. All I know is that when there's something that you want to learn, studying, learning a sport, a language, how to dance, how to cook, whatever, never ask yourself, am I talented enough to do this? No, ask yourself, do I like this? Am I willing to put in a lot of effort and patience to become skilled at this? If so, go do it right away, because you can learn pretty much anything. Never let yourself be limited, because your potential is immeasurable. Thank you.